Hey guys, wanted to go ahead and talk about a silly technique here that might be useful for someone. For me, I found it incredibly helpful, so I wanted to go ahead and talk about it. What I want to talk about is multiple uses of hair bands because I actually didn't know this. So I want to talk about a few things you can do with hair bands that might be helpful for you. So now we're switching back to audio really quick. You can actually use these as a last resort shock mounts. So you know sometimes like your shock mounts on your various things, they kind of come apart. Well, if you actually understand how shock mounts work, it basically is a rubber band holding it away. So what you can do is it doesn't matter what microphone shock mount it is. Basically, it's the same concept. You can actually, and this is right here, these are hair bands. Like, you can take these apart and you can tell that these are hair bands. These are not the official ones here. So here, as you can see, I'm using a shotgun microphone and it actually will work. Now, sometimes it's not a clean fit, right? It's not a clean match. But if you understand like kind of how it works, it just needs to be enough where it actually is not touching the edge. But overall, it'll work here. I also did it on my Cat Equitech 100S. So, it's kind of a pain in the ass to put on the shock mounts correctly on this. So this is actually put together with hair bands. So these are actually really good for shock mounts if you ever find like it's a pain in the ass to get the exact parts, or you just need to get a shock mount like now. So that's the first one I want to talk about. The second thing I want to talk about, which I thought was actually pretty cool, is these are actually pretty useful for like last minute USB cord stuff. So let me give you an example. So typically I usually use, Night Eyes. These are like really expensive. Like actually, individually, these are like really, really expensive. So these are kind of, but then the second one is this, and I use this a lot. The problem is I feel like these are better if you don't use the wires a lot, right? But sometimes they get stuck on my socks or stuff like that. But I still think this is a viable option. But what I want to also say is there's a third option. You can just use hair bands. Basically, so if I have like USB cables like this this is really, really messy. I can quickly just kind of like, if it's like hair bands are so dirt cheap. They're so cheap. So I just get something like this and, I roll it about twice. And now I basically have something that keeps my USB cords in check. So that's the first way to do it. Finally, I want to talk about a technique which actually I didn't know about this, but this actually helped me a lot and you might find it useful. So for me, now the answer to this is just get a key fob that's a card instead. But so I had a problem with my key fob. So let me show you, right? So with this particular key fob, it's kind of awkwardly built. So when I try to put it in here, it would always kind of bulge out in this weird way. Like no matter what in my pocket, it's always kind of bulging out. So I'm just like, you see that how it kind of awkwardly, no matter what I do, it just like it kind of awkwardly is there. And so I was like, what do I do? So what I was thinking was I can get like a chain link, right? So, put a chain link, and what that does is it's adding more bulk, right? It's adding more bulk, and it's still kind of fixing the problem, but it's adding more bulk, and I don't like to add more bulk to my keys. So what you can actually do, and I'm just going to go ahead and just really quickly demonstrate this, is, so in this case, I just use a Night Eyes here as a demonstration chain. You can actually just do this. So basically, you just get a hair tie, right? And you just put it right through the hole like that. We're experiencing, okay, I can do it like that. So you see how it goes in? And then you just take that, put that under, and boom. Now this is super lightweight, super flexible, very easy to move around. And so all I do is just go, like on my keychain, I basically put that wherever I want to put it. It's super flexible. It's not going anywhere. It's very, very flexible, very easy, very, very elastic, very easy to move around. As opposed to when I had a chain, it added more weight and it's not as flexible and it just limits you. Like this is really, and it's not coming out. Like this is really sturdy stuff. And so I can just easily put this on for my keys. So just thought that'd be helpful for anybody who would find that helpful.